Welcome to the AI Automations for Business podcast. We're your hosts, Katie and Noel, and we'll be discussing how you can use AI for your business along with the latest news, updates, and automations to help you stay ahead of the curve, allowing you to grow and scale your business more efficiently. Please be sure to subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode. I'm here with Noel. Hi, Noel.
Hello. Really looking forward to this one.
Are you?
What
are you looking forward to?
There's so much good stuff coming up. I'm not even going to spoil it.
Love your confidence, Noel.
When you know what's coming, it's easy to get excited.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to talk today about content repurposing using AI. So content repurposing is something that I've been talking about for years, maybe even a whole decade. I know. Noel's eyes just got very wide.
Showing our age.
And so if you don't know what content repurposing is, it's instead of being on this hamster wheel of feeling like you have to create content over and over and over and over again, and it's not about like just reusing content, but it's actually making your content work harder for you. So it's about creating one piece of content and breaking it down into several smaller pieces of content. Now that could be long form content like a YouTube channel, a podcast episode, a blog, or it could be turning a short form piece of content into longer form content. So it could be just a social media post or an Instagram reel, a TikTok, and then turning that into maybe a blog or an email to go out to your subscribers. Because what we didn't really sign up for, I think most of us didn't as business owners, is the amount of content that you have to create for your business. Noel is nodding along. Noel, you're very visual today, and I think you're forgetting we're on a podcast.
I know. I always do. But yeah, I didn't really get into the whole game of making all this content when starting my business. For me, I'm quite bad at it.
Because you're married to a marketer and someone who helps other business owners with their marketing and social media, I don't feel like that's a very good promotion for me.
Well, you're always busy.
It's true. But you do okay.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, I've taught you many things. So, and, sometimes you just, it's not good to get too involved in, to your spouse's business. Sometimes you've just got to let them get on with it.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. I think now with AI, we can do so much stuff on my own now. So, I've taken your learnings and I'm now applying it and doing my own thing.
Yeah, I would say actually the things that I have taught you over the years since you set up your first business, I feel like you've put them into practice more so now you've been using AI in the past 18 months or so.
Yes, it gives me the time to do it. Yeah.
And also you were the one who started a TikTok account, like the first one out of the two of us start a TikTok account, and I was like, I'll start a TikTok account as well. And that's where my TikTok addiction it started. Well, I don't like to blame people, but
you can blame somebody.
I had no interest in being on TikTok until you started.
Rubbish.
But yeah, I remember you started your TikTok account and that was for prompt engineering, wasn't it?
Yes.
And you were doing so well with that. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then I started my TikTok and I was just like, Noel's doing so much better than I am. But of course, you weren't really doing any other social media marketing. And I had obviously my Facebook page and my Instagram account at that point. And I think I had my Facebook group. And then obviously I was doing my email marketing, which I still do. So yeah, I had lots going on. So I feel like you had more time.
I did.
But going back to what we were saying is for you, Noel, when you started your business, despite being married to a marketer, you didn't really want to be someone who created a ton of content correct?
No. So for my first business is an electrical business. So most of my stuff comes from word of mouth. So yeah, there's no real need for me to market it really strongly. Because most of my customers, they either recommend me or they just keep coming back. I can't get rid of them.
Yeah, and for you as well, what's great about your other business is that there are only a few of you in the UK who can do what you do. So you're kind of like really sought after.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, where that is very rare these days.
It is, and it's not been touched by AI yet. I'll have to get onto that.
Oh, slippery slope maybe. But yeah, so most business owners don't sign up to then create a ton of content, and like you love the part of the business where you're working with the customer, or you're working with the client.
Yes, problem solving, delivering something. That's really what gets me excited. Yeah, sitting down and figuring out a LinkedIn post doesn't overly get me excited.
No, yeah. Okay. And I feel like you are definitely not alone. I feel like I've spoken to so many business owners, my marketing clients, I would say most of them feel that way. It's very rare that someone gets really excited about marketing and social media in the same way that I do. So we kind of have to, talk about it as if the majority of people, don't enjoy creating this content, but there is this catch-22, whereas like for most people, creating content and marketing your business is how people bring in customers or, make people aware of their services or products. But I don't want anyone feeling like they are on this hamster wheel of churning out content after content, because that's just not doing anyone any good. And, a lot of people think that if they post every day or post more, have more followers, then it's going to bring them in more business. But actually, it's all about intentional content. So content that really speaks to your ideal clients rather than just churning out content for the sake of it, really. And that's kind of what we're doing with this content repurposing. You're creating one really awesome piece of content, and then you're just breaking it down into smaller pieces, or the other way around. You're creating, say, like a LinkedIn post, and it's got a lot of traction, and you think, wow, I'm going to send this out to my email subscribers, or I want to put this on my website as a blog piece. So it's all about intentional content. It's not just churning out as much content as you possibly can. I'm not advocating that whatsoever.
Good disclaimer.
Yeah, that was my disclaimer. Don't come at me.
Yeah.
So, no, let's talk then about repurposing content. So either taking a piece of long form content, so a podcast episode, YouTube video, blog, or a short form piece of content, so like a LinkedIn post or an Instagram reel, for example, or maybe a TikTok.
Okay, so I guess to start off with, like the tool that we'll obviously use is make.com, because I love that tool.
Of course we're using make.com.
It's got all of the apps in there that we could ever need. So yeah, that's a tool I would always build in. And over the past few days, I've been building our own automation for this podcast, which kind of does exactly what we're talking about.
Wow. Amazing. Tell us more.
So what we do once we've edited the podcast, obviously we'll download the MP3 file, and at that point then we'd go off and then we'd type out a title, description, tags, or create posts and things like that to promote it. But the automation I created last week was I would just drop the MP3 into a Google Drive, and then that triggers the automation. So I've got Gemini 2.5 doing the full transcript, and then I've got loads of other little AI modules after, which create titles, descriptions, newsletters, all of the LinkedIn posts and things like that. So all of that's all automatically created within a couple of minutes of me uploading a file into Google Drive. So It's super simple, really easy to do.
Which all sounds amazing. And let's talk about that a bit more step by step in just a second. But this morning, I was showing you Cast Magic, which is a AI website, like standalone platform. So again, like what Noel was saying, you can upload your edited podcasts in MP3, and Cast Magic will give you the transcript. It will give you titles, it will give you keywords, but then also what it can do is give you LinkedIn posts, it can give you thread posts, you can ask it to create you pins. So Noel said, well, let's ask it to create you some pins for Pinterest. And the results now, like I've seen what other platforms can do, this seems unfortunately now a little bit basic. Like the AI model is a bit basic. And so we got it to make some Pinterest pins, didn't we, Noel? And it was kind of like, okay, that's fair enough. And then you said, can you get it to create a blog for you based on your podcast?
Yeah, because that's kind of one of the main options that they offered, isn't it? On the screen is like, make a blog, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, you can do loads of things with Cast Magic. Let's not, I found it very helpful. But then it created a blog post for me. But what then happened was I couldn't like personalize it in any way. I couldn't tweak like the prompt to make it sound like me. It was using American spelling, and actually the blog post itself was quite basic, and it was written in a way that I wouldn't necessarily, write my blog posts. But there was no option, was there, to be able to then tweak it?
No, that was it. That was exactly what you got. There was no real way of giving it that personal touch.
Yeah, you couldn't train it,
No.
which is really unfortunate. So I know that's why like you're using this automation in make.com now. So do you want to just take us step by step? So I know we're in your favorite make.com.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast is not sponsored by make.com, but if they do want to sponsor us, then hey, reach out to us. You can find us, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, or if you want my email, just, let me know.
Yeah, more than happy.
Well, more than happy. Then you said you're using Gemini 2.5. So do you want to just explain what that is?
So Gemini 2.5 is a new model from Google, and the reason I'm using that to get the transcripts is it has such a massive context window. So it has 1 million, what they call it, 1 million tokens. So we can put in like large videos or text files, audio files, and it'll be able to work with that sort of data. Whereas if we put that into ChatGPT or a normal OpenAI or Anthropic model, they've got a really, really small context window. So it would, max out those tokens and then just throw an error and they go, I can't do anything with it. So that's kind of why I'm using 2.5. And I then use it throughout the rest of the process because I'm then giving this really long transcript to the rest of the AI modules that come after as context. So every module understands what we talked about for the last, 20 minutes, half an hour on the podcast.
Okay. So it's been transcribed into Gemini. Then what comes next in your automation?
So what comes after that is we'll go off and create the titles, and then we'll go off and create the podcast description and tags. So that helps us with uploading everything into our podcast platform. But then after that, we then go, right, well, now we need to start creating the extra content. So we're going to be, releasing a newsletter soon via LinkedIn. So we want to be able to create a newsletter every week, and basically we give it the transcript, we give it the title, the description, and then say, right, get me a newsletter. And obviously here's my brand voice. This is what we sound like as well. We have that in there. And then at the very end of that, we then create a LinkedIn post, which uses all of the transcripts. It uses the everything that we've done before, and then go, right, this is everything. Create me an engaging post for LinkedIn that promotes or talks about the newsletter, and then pushes people back into our LinkedIn newsletter. So that's kind of, the way it sort of works.
And could you go one further and actually then use a third-party scheduling app to post that automatically on LinkedIn if you wanted to?
Yes. Yeah, you can definitely do that. So I think Buffer's probably one of the biggest, most common ones that's used in Make.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
So yeah, you can schedule into Buffer.
Okay.
If you use anything like MailChimp or Beehive, you could then repurpose or post your newsletter into those routes as well as like LinkedIn. But you can also post directly into the social media platforms using the modules in Make. But you do kind of need some sort of computer science degree to understand like how to get an API key from these platforms. It's really difficult. So I would say, like, for beginners, if you have a scheduling platform, just use that.
Okay.
Make your life a little easier.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So that would be an example then if you were doing this for our podcast episode. Mm-hmm. So what about if we're doing it the other way? So when we haven't got like a long form piece of content and then we're breaking it down into smaller pieces of content. Mm-hmm. We've got a short form piece of content. So for example, a LinkedIn post or an Instagram post, and then we want to make a blog post or a podcast episode from it. What would be the other way round to do it, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So it's kind of similar. I mean, your trigger might be a little different. You might create like a Google Doc, you would copy paste your post in there, and then creating that document would then trigger the workflow. But then from that point, really, it's then giving the AI all of the information it needs and says, well, I want to create a blog post. Here's a few examples of what I've created before, and then you can then personalize all the brand voice and things like that. And then it would then go off and create that content. But then you could also, if you could really take that larger piece of content and then make something that's even bigger. So you could do I don't know, like a faceless YouTube video. You could do TikTok stuff. You could do, you could create your own podcast and not even be you doing it. You could use.
Oh, really?
There's some really cool text to speech models out there at the moment. So you could take your blog post, get the next AI to create a script, and then the next one after that would then create the audio file of the podcast. So yeah, right. Scary what you could do.
That's really cool.
Yeah, from one post.
Yeah, okay. So hopefully this has helped you realise that you don't need to be churning out a ton of different content just once. You can repurpose it, you can make smaller pieces of content from it, you can make bigger pieces of content from it. And hopefully for those of you who don't love creating content, this, has been valuable for you. We always love to hear what you're up to with AI and AI automation. So if you want to come and share, how you're using it with your marketing or your social media content, then please come and let us know over in our free LinkedIn group, which is called AI Automations for Business. We will put the link in the show notes below, along with the other things that we have mentioned within this podcast. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on another episode next week.